NES version. Produced by License. Presented. Hello again. This is once again Magma WK. And this time I'm gonna do this for real because it was requested. But the question is, how am I gonna make it interesting? That's gonna be a tough one. Of course, gonna cut out a lot of the fights here and try to provide all the valuable information you need. And I do not have a gamepad. My gamepad is not working. Why don't I buy a new one? Because, as you've seen before, I have not made a video in 2 weeks because I've been busy. Shut up. Anyways, let's go ahead and create some new characters, shall we? This shall be an introduction, a real introduction to all the different character classes and such. If you need more information on the Ultima series, you can always check out the Game Facts, of course, the previous April Fool's video that I got yelled at for. But anyways, let's make some handmade characters. And let's start with a Frontliner. Frontliner being balanced here. A race here. Humans get even stats all across. Stats, of course, mean strength, dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom. And you can pretty much guess what they all are. Strength, how hard you can hit. Dexterity, how well you can avoid traps and avoid enemies attacking you. Intelligence, that goes to black magic. And wisdom, white magic. Easy enough. And of course the other races, including Elf, who gets a bonus in dexterity. Dwarf, getting bonuses in strength. Bobbit, getting bonuses in wisdom. And Fuzzy, getting bonuses in both dexterity and intelligence, but having extremely low strength. But let's go with a Frontliner here. Now we're thinking fighter. Ooh, typical Frontliner, yeah. Wrong. In this game, magic is superior. And by magic, you want someone who can cast a little bit to earn experience early on. I'll explain later, as usual. But anyway, fighter, no casting ability whatsoever. However, he can do all the weapons and all the armor, so he isn't a total loss if you decide to go with him. Another Frontliner you really might want to consider is the Paladin. A Paladin is almost as good as a fighter, using up to iron armor and all the weapons. But your character class determines your gender as well. She can use wisdom, yes, white magic. Wisdom spells, I shall refer to them as white magic because I am a crazy man. A well-balanced character is a ranger. A ranger, he is able to use some weapons, some armor, and both wisdom and intelligence spells. But he can only use the lower stat as far as how much his magic points are determined. And another one you don't want to consider, is the Barbarian. Barbarian, while he can use, I believe, all of the weapons, however, he can only use up to leather armor, and he cannot use magic whatsoever. So we shall go with a Paladin, yes. And we get 50 points to spend. And with that, let's get a decent amount of strength, a little bit of wisdom. Wisdom also determines how many magic points you get. So, since a Paladin has half the magic points of the wisdom, she will start out with 10 magic points because she has 20 wisdom. And balance out the rest of the stats there. That is okay. And let's give her a real name this time. I don't know what to rename her. We can change the name later if we want to, actually. But, I don't know. Do you know any famous paladins? Let's call her Moon. Not after Sailor Moon, just call her Moon. And we shall need a second person at the front line. Let's go with that well-balanced human ranger we were talking about earlier. And of course he uses both the wizard and the cleric spells. And his magic points are determined by the lowest of the two scores. Thus we'll have to raise both of those intelligence and wisdom stats. But since we don't actually need any large magic points right now, we can get away with 10 each, making them have 5 points. And balance them out. And being the vain fool I am, I shall name myself a Magma, the Ranger. I also look like a red wizard. Anyways, I should also mention some other characters here while I'm creating. Let's go with a white magic master. We could use a cleric, which would be the best choice, of course. Being able to use all the wisdom points at her disposal. Yes, it's a her. She can't use very many weapons or armor, but cleric healing, you gotta love it. And she just gets some pretty good attack spells as well. Another choice you might want to consider is Illusionist. Supposedly, according to my guide, yes, I actually bought the strategy guide. I'm a nerd. Shut up. Her magical power isn't quite as strong as the cleric's, but isn't more accurate. Whatever. And her willpower points, aka wisdom, is cut in half, making her basically a useless cleric. And that, of course, leaves a druid. A druid is similar to ranger with less fighting power, but more devoted to his magic. He can use the highest of the intelligence or wisdom stats, i.e., I can have him have 25 intelligence. He gets half that, 12 magic points, and I don't have to raise the wisdom, or vice versa. And that applies to both the black magic and white magic. But we should get a specialist, because we can't. We want a specialist, because specialists are powerful. Unfortunately, I can only start with a maximum of 25 in any stat. So let's get some dexterity to dodge. And let's call her, Heal. What an original name, Magma. And finally, we'll need a blaster. And blaster, I recommend Fuzzy. Fuzzy. Now the wizard, of course, would be the ultimate blaster. Not being able to use any weapons other than dagger or any armor other than a cloth, but I'll explain the others that get used later. But his blasting power is superior. Now you could go with the half-ass wizard called the Alchemist. Same thing with the weapons and armor, but his magic is reduced in half. And like the Illusionist, he is completely worthless. Now something you might want to consider instead is the Lark. Now Lark, while having half the magic, can equip almost any weapon. Actually all weapons. But only cloth armor. So Lark might be considered a frontline fighter if they didn't have cloth. Anyways. Oh yes, one more thing. Thief supposedly can get treasure chests open most of the time, but otherwise he is completely useless with no magic, weak, abilities, including only up to leather armor and very few weapon selections. So a thief is completely useless, considering a cleric has the spell of open, which will safely open any treasure chest. But anyways, let's make our wizard real fast here, because I am doomed to the YouTube time limit. Let's have a blast. And that's the introduction to our characters. And we shall form our party later.